You know that feeling, right? You sit down at your desk, coffee in hand, totally ready to crush the day, and by 10 a.m. you're just done. Completely drained, overwhelmed. It feels like you're fighting your own tools just to get anything done. And the crazy part? You're probably surrounded by productivity apps, fancy planners, all the stuff that's supposed to help. So what gives? Why is the act of trying to be organized so unbelievably exhausting? That's exactly what we're going to tear apart today.
Man, this quote just hits different, doesn't it? It perfectly captures this trap we all fall into. We have this belief that adding more will make us faster. More apps, more systems, more lists. But in reality, all you're doing is strapping another piece of the racetrack to your own back. We spend all of our precious energy just carrying the system that supports us, and then we have nothing left for the actual race. It's a total misunderstanding of what high performance really is.
Okay, so let's get real for a second. That feeling of hitting a wall before lunch, that brain fog that just rolls in when you even look at your to-do list, that's not just you. It's a universal thing for high achievers. And in this explainer, we're going to give that feeling a name, and we're going to show you the precise biological reason it's happening. And more importantly, we're going to give you the protocol to kill it for good. This is not about working harder. No way. This is about engineering an environment where clear, powerful work is the only possible thing that can happen.
Look, when you feel that drain, your first instinct is probably to blame yourself. You think, I just don't have enough discipline, or I'm being lazy. I want you to stop that right now. What if that's completely wrong? The research this is based on is crystal clear. The problem isn't a lack of grit, it's the weight of invisible complexity. Think of it like a metabolic predator. Every single app you check, every decision about where to save a file, they're tiny invisible weights that, when you add them all up, are absolutely crushing your energy.
All right, so here's our game plan for this deep dive. First, we're going to diagnose the problem, this weight of the invisible. Then, we'll look at the biology of your brain's own emergency brake. From there, we'll get to the solution, a powerful 3-layer deletion engine. We'll cover the science behind why it unlocks so much energy, show you how to execute your first audit today, and we'll finish by cementing the incredible metabolic power of real simplicity. Let's get into it.
Okay, Section 1, the weight of the invisible. This is where we uncover the hidden tax that's been draining your energy account. The big idea here is something called systemic entropy. It's just a natural tendency for any system to drift into chaos. And every single decision point you create, no matter how small, like should I log this in Notion or Trello or my notebook, that's a direct withdrawal from your energy bank. It's not a free action. It costs you focus. Each choice adds a little more friction, a little more drag, until your entire day feels like you're slogging through mud.
We've all been sold this lie of more, haven't we? We think success looks like having these super sophisticated systems, backups for our backups, endless options for everything. But what we're actually building is just organized chaos. It's like you're a gardener who's so busy watering 1,000 different plants that you never actually stop to harvest any of the fruit. You're not actually being productive, you're just getting really, really good at managing your own friction.
So, how does all this friction actually show up inside your brain? Well, that brings us to Section 2. We're going from the abstract concept of complexity to the hard biological reality inside your skull. That feeling of being totally overwhelmed, mentally frozen, it has a name, throughput collapse. And here's the thing, it's not a weakness, it's your brain's built-in safety mechanism. It's pulling the emergency brake because your system has become too damn heavy to fly.
And this is the term you need to burn into your memory, systemic cognitive drag. Think of your brain like a computer CPU. What happens when you have 100 different programs running in the background? The whole system just grinds to a halt. Well, that is exactly what your digital and mental clutter is doing. Your brain was not designed to keep track of 50 different apps and 20 systems. When you try, it creates this state of constant monitoring, where your nervous system is just burning fuel to keep track of itself. I'll say it again. This is not laziness, it's systemic resource starvation.
And this chart illustrates the huge shift in perspective. You might feel that dread when you open your laptop and tell yourself the story that you're just lazy, but the biological reality is that a part of your brain called the Anterior Cingulate Cortex, or ACC, think of it as a conflict detector, is sounding a massive alarm. It sees 10 possible first steps, 20 notifications, 5 different task lists, and it recognizes this as a high-energy, low-clarity mess. So to conserve its precious energy, what we call executive glucose, it slams on the emergency brake. It vetoes the action. That frozen feeling is not a character flaw. It is your brain physically cutting the power to prevent a system crash.
Okay, so if the problem is a biological response to a bad structure, the solution isn't more willpower, it's better engineering. And that's exactly what we're going to build in Section 3.
We are moving away from the useless act of managing complexity and toward the powerful discipline of engineering simplicity. This is the blueprint for your deletion engine.
This is the core principle, the new operating system. The goal is not to get better at juggling. It's not to find some master app that can organize the mess. The goal is to kill the source of the mess. You don't need to organize what doesn't exist. High-velocity output comes from subtraction, not from addition. This means we have to be willing to decisively eliminate the tools and processes that drain our focus, even if we once thought they were helping us.
So, this protocol is a practical 3-layer engine. Let's walk through it. First up, at the top is Systemic Singularity. This is all about unifying your tools. You stop using 5 different apps to do one job. You choose one inbox, one task list, one place to think. This is like a RAM upgrade for your brain. It instantly frees up processing power. Second, Vital Deletion. You apply the 80-20 rule with ruthless precision. Identify the 20% of your activities that produce 80% of your results, and then you hard delete, automate, or delegate the rest. Finally, a zero-friction environment. You architect your physical and digital space so the right action is the easiest and only action. It's the difference between navigating a complicated maze and just sliding down a chute.
But why does deleting stuff feel so energizing? The answer is pure brain science, which we're going to unpack right now in Section 4. This isn't just about feeling better organized, it's about fundamentally changing how your brain allocates its most precious resources. We are about to unlock what the source material calls executive surplus, the reserve tank of high-level focus and creativity that you didn't even know you had.
So this is your brain on complexity. The ACC, that conflict detector we talked about, is constantly firing. It's hot, it's active, and it's burning through that valuable executive glucose, just trying to decide what to do next. It's in a state of constant monitoring, asking, should I check this app or that one? What about this notification? All of that energy is being spent just maintaining the system, not on producing actual results. It is pure metabolic waste.
And this is your brain after applying the Deep Simplicity Protocol. By removing the conflict in choice, you've quieted the ACC. And now, a different part of the brain takes over, the striatum, which is responsible for habit and reward. With a single clear path forward, the striatum gives you a steady dopamine drip for taking action. You're no longer forcing yourself to work through a wall of resistance. You're just falling into it because there's simply nowhere else to go. That is the biological signature of flow.
So, what's the big payoff? Well, this process is called neural desaturating. First, it dramatically lowers the energy cost of focus. Second, it unlocks those glucose reserves for your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for deep, creative work. Third, and most importantly, your energy shifts from the exhausting act of managing chaos to the energizing act of creating value. And there's a cool psychological benefit. Every time you delete a non-essential app or step, you build what's called a winner effect. Your brain registers a small victory, which deepens your commitment and builds momentum.
Now, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? Section 5 is your battle plan. This is your first direct maneuver in the war on complexity, a process of tool calling that you can begin the moment this is over. Results come from application, so let's get tactical.
Okay, here is your 3-step audit. Let's do this. Step 1, identify the noise. Right now, think of 3 things in your workflow that create hesitation or friction. It could be 2 calendar apps you have to cross-reference, maybe a project management tool nobody uses. Just name them. Step 2, execute the singularity mandate. This requires a hard decision. Choose one inbox for all communication. Choose one task list for all your to-dos. Archive everything from the others, and then delete the apps from your devices. The goal is ruthless unity. Step 3, the zero-friction reset. Look at your physical desk. Clear it of everything that is not related to the single task you are doing right now. The books, the old notes, all of it. Do the same for your digital desktop. The goal here is immediate, decisive action, not perfect, prolonged organization.
And this quote just nails the new philosophy. For years, we've been told to just push harder, to add more grit, to power through the resistance. But that's like trying to drive a car by flooring the gas with the parking brake fully engaged. It's loud, it's exhausting, and it's incredibly inefficient. This protocol isn't about redlining the engine. It's about simply releasing the brake. Subtracting the friction is exponentially more powerful, period.
And that brings us to our final section, the metabolic power of simplicity. Let's zoom out and lock in the core principle that will govern this new way of operating. This is about moving from an amateur's obsession with complexity to a master's command of the simple.
This is the ultimate takeaway. If you remember one thing, make it this. We tend to think of simplicity as some minimalist aesthetic or a nice-to-have luxury. It is not. It is a biological and metabolic requirement for sustained high performance. Complexity is a cage that your brain will always fight against, burning precious energy just rattling the bars. Simplicity is the key to that cage. It's the only environment where your brain can stop managing and finally start creating.
So here's your challenge. I want you to take the hardest, most complex problem on your plate right now, a tough project, a stalled goal. Look at it not as one giant monster, but as a collection of variables. Identify 3 dead variables, 3 steps, assumptions, meetings, or components that add complexity but not value, and kill them. Don't organize them, don't analyze them for another week. Delete them right now. And then notice the clarity that immediately emerges from that new space.
And we'll end with this. This is your new mantra. It is the entire philosophy distilled into 4 words. The path to elite performance, to that feeling of effortless momentum we all crave, isn't found through addition. It's unlocked through ruthless, high-velocity subtraction. Delete the noise, find the flow.